Hi! So recently it was my birthday and I got a shit ton of books and like 12 or something I have here to haul. So it's a book haul! And it's only now that I actually realize how many books some people haul every month because I always see a pile, but this really is a shit ton of books. So I'll just get into it because it's going to be very long anyway. So first I have two books which actually were not for my birthday. But as I have mentioned before on this channel, there was one book I ordered, but which got delayed, etc., and arrived on my birthday. So that was really nice. And it's Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, and it's basically stream of consciousness style, which really appeals to me. I'm really curious to see how to get more into modernist literature and to see how this writing style works and whether I like it, because I've always thought that I would love stream of consciousness style, but I only recently realized that I actually had never read something in that style. But yeah, this is basically about a woman who prepares a party and it just follows her, but in that style, so that's mainly why I really want to read it so much. Next one, my parents were cleaning out the attic and they came across this book which was just lying around, and I had already mentioned that, oh, can I borrow that some time? And they just said, have it. And it's Evelyn Waugh's Brideshead Revisited. And this is, I think, about a guy who goes to visits some really rich, posh English family, and drama happens. I heard so many good things about it. My dad has always been talking about how much he loved the miniseries. So I've been really curious to find out more about this story. So then into the books that I actually got for my birthday. So basically, just a preface, I actually looked in Goodreads and I saw that I added some of these books in 2013. I've been wanting to read them for like 4 years and I never got to. So basically I've wanted to read these books for very long. And one of the books which I almost bought every time I bought a book for the past 3 years or 4 is William Golding's Lord of the Flies. I've never read this. I know what happens. I know what happens in the end because I was in the train and people were very loudly discussing the ending. But basically this is about a group of boys who are stranded on an island and some political chaos ensues basically between them. And I mean, this is right up my alley. I really love modern classics. I really love disturbing books. A few of my favourite books are the really dark modern classics like 1984, Clockwork Orange, Fahrenheit 451, etc. All these books I'm a really big fan of. Brave New World as well. So this just sounds like something I will give 5 stars and will absolutely love. So that's always good, right? I can't wait to get to this. Then the next one is actually one of the books I had not so long on my radar, but I've been watching for like a year or something. But that's H.G. Wells's The Island of Dr. Moreau. This is about a man who goes to an island and there's a doctor, and the doctor has some god complex, something like that. I'm really glad I kind of forgot what exactly was the point of it, because I only remember that I really loved the plot, what I heard of it, and now I can go into it kind of blind but still knowing I love it, so that's kind of the best of both worlds. Also, I've been wanting to read H.G. Wells for such a long time. Initially I had been eyeing The Time Machine, Invisible Man, but then I found out about this one, and this one has always been my number one. I actually recently bought this for a friend on her birthday, and I was just so jealous that she got to read it and I didn't. But also look at this very pretty design. It's a maze. I love mazes. This is going to be so cool. I can just read the back to give you a bit of an idea, because that's nice. Because otherwise I'm one of those shitty people who's like, oh yeah, this book is great, I'm not going to tell you because I don't know, because I'm uninformed, but look it up yourselves if you think this cover is pretty. So basically I'll just read it back for you and that's over as well. Atwood, the single survivor of a shipwreck, is rescued by a vessel carrying a menagerie of savage animals. Soon he finds himself stranded on an uncharted island in the Pacific with a strange vivisectionist, Dr. Moreau, whose experiments have led him to break the laws of nature, turning beast into man with horrific results. That sounds so cool. I remember there was something up with that Dr. Moreau, and that it was just really fucking cool, and that it was also really dark. And again, the dark classics, modern classics, all for this. This is going to be so cool. Then there's another one which I've been eyeing for like a year, so not the 3 or 4 years, but we'll get to that. This is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. It's basically about a group of classics students, and they commit a murder in some sort of ancient ritual. That sounds so cool. I believe it's more a character study, but the concept is just so fucking cool, and I love things set in university, set in academia. I'm currently reading Frankenstein. My favorite part was just the description of the main character's education, which is very strange because it's all about the monster coming to life, you know. Then this one was apparently I've been wanting to read for over 4 years now. I didn't even know it. I wasn't even planning on buying this because it wasn't like my highest priority book. I actually wanted to get a different book by him, but this was in quite a discounty stall. And so I just couldn't leave there. I mean, it's also the edition I really wanted. And it's Dan Night in Paris and London by George Orwell. And I've read 1984, which is my favourite book of all time. And Animal Farm, which I only read this year, but I gave 5 stars because it was perfect, as expected. I've always wanted to read this book as soon as I heard of it. It's basically about Orwell's time in Paris and London in a very low social class, so he was really poor, and it's just about his life. It's written by Orwell. He can't do any wrong in this sense. His writing is just magical. I just love stories set in big cities. And I love stories by Orwell. And I really want to learn more about Orwell, so autobiographical is always a very nice thing. And it matches my other editions, so I mean, yeah, it's perfect. Then the next one was actually a present from a friend, which was completely unexpected and was so sweet, because I told her that this author was one of my favorite authors, because I have read so much by him this year and I've loved everything, and I told her that I hadn't read this one, and she said, "Oh, haven't you? Oh, you should really read this." And it's Carrie by Stephen King. It's basically, I love Stephen King so much. I think last year I read The Shining, which was my first Stephen King book, and then this year I read Misery, It and Salem's Lot, and it's definitely not the last one because I think I will get to this year. It's also very short for Stephen King. It's basically about a girl who gets bullied in high school, and then she has some telepathic powers. Is it telepathic? I don't know the word, I know what she does. The Matilda power, you know, where you can move things. So basically she can do that. And she just, chaos ensues because she's fucking pissed off. And I mean, Stephen King's suspense, it's not even about action for me, it's just about the way he builds everything up, and I care so much about the characters every time he writes a book. So that's really nice. Next one actually has a bit of a story, because for half a year I was just visiting this really nice independent bookstore nearby, and it always had this really nice edition of Schopenhauer's essays and aphorisms, and like this really nice penguin cloth bound classic thing. But it was quite cheap for such an edition, and I wanted to get it, but I never did. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to buy it for my birthday. And then suddenly, after like 6 months, they didn't have it anymore. So I bought another one, because that's actually 2 really nice editions, and I've actually also been eyeing this one. This is Kierkengaard's and Trembling, basically one of the groundworks of existentialism. And I've been buying a lot of existentialism lately, so that's always nice. Just really classic philosophy. I actually joined some Goodreads group, and suddenly they were reading this month, so I'll try to get to it this month as well. I'm sorry I can't go really in depth about the books, but I can't, because then this would be 40 minutes long. Next one was also a present, also really unexpected, also really sweet. And it's also about a book that I've been talking about constantly because I really wanted to read it. And it's James Joyce's Dubliners. Actually, they saved me because I was planning on buying Ulysses. This is a collection of short stories, including The Dead, which is his most famous short story. I think it said somewhere it's the best short story ever written or something. And he plays a lot with narration, I believe. And all these stories are circle around the concept of epiphany, I think. I just really want to read some Joyce, because just as Virginia Woolf, he is a modernist writer. Modernism is just really cool, and I really want to get into it. And I don't know what it is with James Joyce. I've always been looking at him like, oh, I want to read you. And I just never did. And now I can. I think this might be the next book I'll pick up. So, yeah, really looking forward to this. Even though I'm actually really looking forward to all of these books. Like, I know this is one of these annoying. I'm so excited videos without any content, but I just really wanted to show them because I'm really happy with them. Also, this edition is so pretty. Then is a little black classic, I believe they're called. And it's My Love, It's the Deleted Gun by Dickinson. So it's a collection of poetry. And basically I bought this one because in class we'd been discussing two of Emily Dickinson's poems, and I really loved them. One of them was My Left Stood Loaded Gun, but the other one I loved even more was I Felt a Funeral on My Brain. And I just, that might be my favourite poem I've read until now. And I haven't read a lot of poetry, so that's not too hard. But still, I mean, the rhythm is just so great. But basically, the last 4 lines are missing in I Felt a Funeral on My Brain in this edition, it seems. I don't know what's up with that. But still, I'm really looking forward to reading some Emily Dickinson. I also feel like her poetry is a bit more accessible. I often have that after something is discussed, I kind of get it, but before, I really don't. And with Emily Dickinson, I also have that, but less. Like, I can read the poems, and if I reread them a few times, it just kind of sticks with me already. So that's really nice. There are 2 more, and those are like a lot of the flies. They are books I've been wanting to read for fucking ages. I went to Waterstones and I looked at this book. I stared at it. I thought I actually should buy this because I've been eyeing this for years. I just thought, well, it's like 16 euros or something, and I'm not feeling that excited for it at this moment, even though I've been wanting to read it for years. But then I went to that George Orwell store. Well, it's not the George Orwell store, but the store in which I bought the George Orwell book for very little money. And suddenly, I went into there and I thought, well, maybe I will come across one of the books I have been thinking about but didn't get. And I'm so glad I didn't get it, because they had this for like 10 euros less than I had seen it in other stores. And it's American Psycho by Bret, Easton, Ellis. This year I've read less than 0 because I couldn't get my hands on this one for so cheap. And I've heard great things about this one, less about the other one, which I have read and which I enjoyed. So that's really good. It's kind of nihilistic, his writing. The other one, Less Than 0 at least, was very much like, oh, nothing matters. We're just drinking and driving around and doing nothing because nothing matters. And yeah, that's my thing. This is basically about a psychopath who's just killing people, but who also is leading a really casual businessman life, I believe. And I mean, everyone says this is so great. It's about time. I really like dark stories again. This is always very high up on the list of most disturbing books you should read, etc, etc. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm also a bit afraid because sometimes it just is very dramatic, over disturbing writing, sometimes rubs me a bit the wrong way, but I still think that it could be a great story. And I mean, I might not pick it up immediately because I still have a bit of a bad taste in my mouth from Less Than 0, even though I really enjoyed it and gave it 4 stars. But there were just a few scenes which was just, oh, why? A bit violent because of the violence. And I mean, I guess that was kind of the point, because nothing matters. But still, I mean, I really want to read this. One of the first books I read after I got back into reading, as you do, was 1984, and I really loved it, as I said. Then I read Fahrenheit 451, and I also really loved that. And I read A Clockwork Orange, which is not really a classic dystopia, but it still kind of is a dystopia kind of classic, so... And I also really loved that one. And then I didn't really want to spend my money on Brave New World, but I did. And I really enjoyed this one, even though it was a bit later and I wasn't really overwhelmed by every letter that was good. So, but this one, it just hadn't happened. Even though I really wanted to read it, it's The Handmaid still, but Margaret Atwood. Basically, if you put a book I really want in a lot of like stands in bookshops and just exhibit it everywhere, and it's everywhere, I just at some point need to buy it. I also had so many covers to choose from because it was so hyped up, and I really like this one. This is about some dystopian society where everyone is infertile and there are few women who can have children, so they need to basically make sure that humanity persists. And there are these breeders and get forced to have children, etc. I believe it's something like that. Very disturbing, very intriguing. This is going to be so cool. I really don't. I mean, it's kind of a tie between all these books which you want to read next. Margaret Atwood's one of these writers whom I've never read anything by. Whenever I see a book of hers on Goodreads or whatever and I read the synopsis, I always think, oh, I want to read that and add it to my TBR. Those were all the books. Yeah, quite a lot. I don't think I'll be buying books anytime soon. Maybe I will, but not this many. So that was that. Thank you for watching. Bye.